All right. So welcome to Tech Thursday, everybody. I'm Brittany. I'm with our Keller Williams Tacoma office. And so we're going to be going over Facebook ads and just how easy they are inside of Command. So definitely feel free to ask me any questions, follow along to run your own. We'll be going over some best practices around getting permission with ads if it's not your listing, those kinds of things. So we're going to first jump inside of Command, which is at agent.kw.com. And then it's whatever username and password was set up for you when you joined us. If you don't know what it is, reach out to your ASC. We can help you figure it out. And so one of the first pieces you want to make sure you have completed and connected is in your settings. If you click your name open and go in there, it's going to open you to a screen that has everything that you can connect with all of the apps and everything. So before you can run a Facebook ad, you want to make sure you have a business page set up on Facebook and that you connect it on this page. So mine is already in here. It's with my Facebook profile. You can connect more if you needed. I don't have more that I need to connect. I only connected my one business profile for real estate, and there's the post scheduling. And then for ads, there is a second spot that you do have to connect it. So make sure you have both of them filled in just for safety, and that way you have them all ready and set to go. There are other things you can connect in here, but we won't need them for Facebook ads. So if you do Twitter and you want to do Twitter ads, you can connect that. I haven't done one of those. Don't have a Twitter account. So definitely totally up to you if you do those as well. But that setup is pretty easy. The other setup before you do an ad is you want to make sure that under Connect settings, your marketing profile is filled out 100%. This has a lot to do with how you get your information on your websites. It pulls your photos and your information through your ads. So you want to make sure it's filled in as fully as possible. So everything from your photo, if you're on a team, put your logo, and make sure your information is filled in, first, last name, license number. Even though our state is not required to have our license number posted, I do fill it in because things like newsletters and designs and things like that will have it. So I go ahead and just fill it in if I know it. And your bio, make sure that is totally filled in. It will pre-populate with one that is generic that Keller Williams made. So you can keep it, change it later. That's up to you. Make sure your phone number, your email is all accurate, your website, especially if you lead them to your website with your ad. You want to make sure you have that link and you know it and it's pre-set up for this as well. And then all your brokerage information, because it will pull in your brokerage logo for the ads compliant. And so So just going to make sure that your brokerage logo is in there. It should automatically be populated for you so you don't have to think about it. And then compliance, your legal footer, and your two realtor equal housing logos there. And then if you have any social media links you want to post in this profile, I would absolutely connect them. I know that when you initially sign on now, it is all connected to the Keller Williams international profiles. So you can just keep those if you don't have those profiles. Like I don't have a Twitter, but I went ahead and deleted it. I just didn't want it connected. So it's absolutely your choice. And then once you're done, make sure you just press save and it's totally filled in. And if you ever make changes to this, it will automatically update to your website, and it'll then update the information inside. That'll be like your designs and your ads, not the ones that are currently running, but any ones for the future. And so for the Facebook ads, we're actually going to be going into campaigns, which is the megaphone icon on the left. And so in here, it's more than just Facebook ads. It's everything from scheduling your posts, mass emailing, actual physical mailers that you can design and make and get mailed out for you on your behalf, all kinds of things. So think of campaigns as anything you can pay for or not pay for even, because the social media scheduling is free. It just makes it easier if you make your posts in design, so that way you have it at easy access versus trying to download it and schedule it inside of Facebook. So we're actually just going to be focusing on the paid ads section. I haven't run any in this one particularly, but ads I've run in the past, they've only been just a couple of days, spent $12, got 12 leads, so $1 a lead. Someone I helped make do an ad, she ran it for a few days, spent about the same amount, but she got about 20 leads, so she definitely had a bigger return on her investment with that. And so the paid ads are hit and miss. You're really going to figure out what works for you, what doesn't. And so we're going to just kind of talk a little bit about some best practices that I've seen that have helped people get more leads versus not getting enough, or just a few, just to give you some ideas. So we're going to go into create a campaign, and we're selecting the social ad. And so for this one, I'm just going to name it something random. So I'm just going to name it test. I'm not actually going to publish this ad, but we're going to select the advertise a listing, but you can do everything from advertising multiple listings. If you are looking to grow a team in the future, you can do it, attract a talent ad, brand awareness, and the attracting leads could be what's your home value worth kind of ad. And those can be run on a consistent basis. If you want to have some leads that are constantly flowing into your database, that's one of those ads that you can always have up. Doesn't need any special permission, that kind of thing. But we're going to just do the advertise listing for today. And I'm going to be selecting Facebook. And if your Facebook and Instagram are connected, you can actually run them together. And then that way you get ads or leads from both platforms. So if you do connect your business profile to your Instagram and you post them Instagram and your posts go straight there, that's how these are connected, because they're owned by the same company. But I'm only going to be selecting Facebook and going to create my campaign. And so when it first opened, because I did a listing, it is going to ask me to find a listing to connect. I currently don't have any listings, so I'm going to look in all. And I do have one that someone said that I can use, so I'm just going to look it up by the MLS number. And so if you're listing, if you don't have any listings like me, you have to get permission to use these listings. So make sure that before you go in and start making an ad, that you have already had the conversation with that listing agent around making sure that you have permission to use their listing to run an ad from this day to this day. I usually make sure have a phone call first, and then follow up with either a text message or an email, so you have it in writing, especially if you need it for your records, or they need it for their records. It's always good to have that written confirmation after the phone conversation, or if it was in person. So I'm going to be looking this up by the MLS number. And there it is. And so it's just pulling in all the information. If it's your first time ever doing an ad, Gary will walk you through this with his tips and tricks. I just skip over it since I've done this a few times. I just haven't gone through that part. And so as you're building your ad, it will display it on the right-hand side of what it looks like, how it's formatted. And so it's showing the web feed. I could choose it to show me the mobile feed just to see what those differences are in the formatting and how it pulls the pictures in. So first things first is we're going to look at the text copy of the ad. And so it pulled in just one sentence out of the Northwest MLS of the description. And so this one just talks about it's on being 5 acres in Redmond, a charming cottage, has a vintage charm and many updates and loads of potential. That's actually a pretty good sentence. It gives it just like a little hint of what the house has, nothing very specific, because you want to entice them to make sure to click through to get the rest of the information. But what gets people to stop scrolling is actually the emojis around the text. So when you're doing this, you can add things in using the smiley face in the corner. And you can search things like house, and you can use the house emojis. You can look up things like the fire emoji, that's really popular. There's also like the alert red alarm symbol that's pretty popular as well. So you could just do smiley faces if it's like a fenced yard, add a dog in, those kinds of things, something that matches the description. But this one has a lot of trees around it, so I'm going to use the house with the tree emoji at the bottom. We can say if this was brand new on the market, you can add in, I'm going to add in like the little alert symbol. So I'm going to copy that, put it back in the front. A new listing, and then do the other one. And so anytime that you make a new line, it will move it around for you as well on the ad. In Redmond, new listing in Redmond. And it's still leaving some details out, so they want to click through and see it. The headline will show up at the bottom below the picture. So headline. Let's look at what the MLS says about this one, what we want to use in the headline. So it's really close to downtown Redmond, but feels remote. So that's a good one. Close downtown with privacy. Privacy. Close to downtown. Yeah, spelling. In the description doesn't always show up on these ads. I've noticed if you run into it on Facebook. So don't put anything like super important in this description, but make it short enough that if someone does see it, it kind of entices them to want to come. And there are suggestions that they pre-populate for you. So one is you could be coming home to this, schedule a private tour with me today, view photos and videos of the home. I tend to just stick with schedule a private tour with me today. And so I'm just going to use that suggestion. Actually capitalize the downtown part. And so if all of that text looks good to you, go ahead and press save. You can also add the emojis again in that description box if you wanted. And so the media, even though it says it's good, it's only using one photo, but I want to use more than one. The ads that have performed the best that other people have found is it has 2 to 3 photos. And you want to make sure, based on like studies they've done with the ads, they have seen that if you use the kitchen photo, they're less likely to click through because more people want to see what the kitchen looks like than anything. So I don't recommend using the kitchen photo. So use anything but to make them want to click through to see what that kitchen looks like. So I'm going to avoid a kitchen photo, and we will use, don't want that laundry room, it's a little weird, not a bathroom. I'm going to do the living room so they can kind of see the heating element in there. And I'm going to make sure I leave it as square for best placement. I don't mess with that because square looks good both on desktop and on phone. There are other options, but for people scrolling, square is the best. And you can then move the photo around as well where the square is going to hit. So it just depends on what you like of the look. And so as we're doing the ad, it's going to add more pictures there. I'm going to choose one more, not a kitchen. Let's do like this porch photo. Do that. Okay, center it a little to the right and save it. And so it's automatically going to be putting in my DBA logo on the photos off to the right, or you can choose to put it on the left. Preference is up to you, but it has to be on there for ads. You can include your ownership statement, which is that each office is independently owned and operated. So I include it just to cover myself for all compliance purposes. apply that. Let it think for a second. And that's just getting added to the text at the bottom of the photo here where it's saying that these are courtesy of Keller Williams Tacoma, listed by Virginia. So those are really, really small. So people aren't going to notice that person's name out of yours. It's not something they're looking for. But it just lets them know for compliance where we got this information from. And so I'm going to go ahead and save the look of my ad here. And now the most important part of this whole thing is the Facebook settings. So when you come in here, first things first, make sure you select the proper business page that you're using. And then they have added this on here that it says recommended under this Facebook lead gen form. Never unselect this. If you want the contacts to go into your database, you want it to stay that way, because even though that has the option of site and landing page, you can lead them to a site and landing page still. But if you're only using that option, you're not guaranteed their information. And with the Facebook lead gen form, we are the only company that's exclusive to have this with Facebook, because we have an agreement that Gary put together what happens when they click that learn more or apply now, whatever you choose the button to say, is that it comes up with a pop-up window with all this jargon in it. And it pretty much says, like, it gives them permission to share their phone number and email with you, and they might get contacted. And they just press a blue button that says keep going, continue. There's a second pop-up again, and they're like, okay, I just want to get the information. And then that's when they get added to your database. And so it's using whatever their email and phone number that they use to sign up with Facebook is. And so it's not all the time going to be accurate. Sometimes people make profiles just to go see and look up stuff all the time. So you're going to get numbers that go to the wrong person. But I like to look at these leads as long-term leads. You might get some right now leads, but a lot of this is going to determine on your follow-up. So make sure you leave the Facebook lead gen form checked. It is the most important part. The button, you can choose between learn more, sign up, and apply now. If it's a listing, I just leave it as learn more. Apply now would be if I was going to be like hiring an admin position kind of ad, that sort of thing. Sign up could be like if you're having people sign up for your newsletter. I'm not sure what kind of ad you would run with that one. Or if it was an ad for like a home buyers class, I would use the sign up button. But learn more is usually what I stick with for the listings and things like that. So you have an option here now to either use a website URL or a landing page. So you can build a standalone landing page for this listing, or you can find it and look it up on your website. So I'm going to do both just to demonstrate. So I'm up. And so I'm pulling up my KW website, and I'm actually going to search for this listing. Let me pull up the address. Got you guys in front of the screen here. So I'm just going to pull in the address and search. Let's see if we can find it. There it is. And so I'm just going to click open the listing. So it brings me to a full detail page about the property. And you can use this page as the landing page that they get led to. And so what it gives them is all the photos, all the information about the acreage, the beds, the baths, the square footage, the description from the MLS. And the nice part about this is that if they choose the Ask Your Agent or schedule a video tour, it's going to go straight to you as a request instead of the actual listing agent. So since you got permission, it's going to be your lead. And then they can just continue to look at all of this other information. It does have an add-on here about Keller Mortgage and Keller Covered. If they wanted to learn about those things, they can click through. Walkability, commute time, so they could put in their workplace to this house and see how far they would have to drive. Nearby schools. If there was an upcoming open house, it would list it. And then mortgage calculator, just a guesstimation there. And then nearby homes. And then at the very bottom, there is a lead capture form. So if they did decide to refill out with proper information, if their Facebook is not totally up to date, they can reach out to you for more questions there or using the contact your agent button. And so if I wanted to use this page for the ad, I would just copy the URL and then paste that into this website URL box. And it's saying it contains preview, check for broken links. So it has the extra TTPS at the beginning. That's all it is. So I just have to delete that part. And now it's fixed. It's got to think for a second though. And so for the landing page portion, these you can build in under a minute. And let's see if I can do it if the internet is being friendly. So I'm going to go into Command in a different tab and click into the very last icon, Consumer. And in here, you've got your agent site pages and landing pages. Landing pages are totally separate from your website, and that's what I'm going to make really quick to go with my ad. And so I'm going to click this Create a New Page, and it's a standalone page, a landing page. And so it gives me a blank canvas to work with. I always first change the name of this. And so it's a Redmond listing ad. So I named it. I'm going to add in my branded header because this will make sure that my information is the first thing they see at the top of the page. We're talking about a listing. So we're going to drag in the listing widget and then we'll fix that to show the proper listing. And then at the very bottom, I'm going to make sure I add in the lead form. And so now that's on the bottom as well. And so now my last thing I have to do is just to configure this page. For the branded header, you could put the address of the home. So that is 9567 180th Street Northeast. And then, wow, spelling. Redmond, Washington. Your picture, your phone number if it was wrong, you can fix it. This email is a little long, so I'm going to put in my other one. Save and apply that widget. And so what that changes is that at the top of the page, it now will have the address of the house, so they know they're in the right spot when they get there. And I'm going to click to the next widget and select the listing. Let me grab the MLS number again. Why it's important to have matrix up when you're doing these. Got you guys all in front of my screen. MLS number, search by the MLS. And there's the listing. I'll select it. And now it's just going to think for a second. And so now I have all the information to choose from. I'm going to choose the front of the house as the main image that populates and save and apply. So it'll update that widget on the page. And so now on the page, there is the address, all the same information you get off the website. I do like this layout better than the website because it makes the bedrooms and the baths a little more prominent. And they can still see all the photos as well. And then the lead form, you can change the header on it. I'm just going to leave it as is for now. And so that is the landing page. So I'm ready and done with it. So if I'm going to be using it for my ad, I will publish this and say, you want to update this? Yes, I do. And it's going to bring me back into consumer where I have all those pages. And to get the one I just created and to see where it is, that is this one right here at the top. I just made it. And I don't have to copy that link. It's going to automatically pull it in inside of the campaign I'm working on. So if I didn't want to use the website, I can go in and choose a landing page I just made. Maybe here it is, Redmond listing ad. And so if they click that learn more button on my ad now, it is going to take them directly to that landing page I just made really fast for that listing. The last part about the Facebook configuration is that you can target these ads. So I'm going to customize this a little bit. And so when you do this, you can actually retarget it to people in your database. So when you're putting your contacts in, there is a box that allows you to use their Facebook URL. So if you're adding everybody in with their URLs and you make a Facebook ad directly for your database, you can target all of them. And then, but I'm going to do a custom audience because I want some new leads to come in. And so the radius. Sorry. And so the location of the radius, that the smallest you can do is 15 miles. I'm not sure what the max is. I don't know if there is a max, but I wouldn't do it further around the house than you would want to say is reasonable. That's why it defaults to 30, but for you might want to test that part out when it comes to the ads of like how big of a radius helps you get more leads. I've seen everyone do from 15 to 30 to 40. I don't know if I've seen any that go above that, but totally up to you to test it out. And then the interests. This one, you can add some interests on these. So that things like Zillow, first-time home buyers, real estate in general. But I wouldn't add more than 5 of these because the more you add, the smaller the audience you get. Or you could put none at all, and then it just goes to anyone on Facebook at this point. But if you're looking for a specific group of people that you want to target towards, then you can definitely come in here and check out what kind of interest they have on this. And so they give you a full list. So there's accounting, acting, things that people can like on Facebook, and it'll tell you what the estimated audience is on that specific one. So like if air conditioning applied to this, it would get out to 204 million plus people. Like apartments, if you were going to try to target people who lived in apartments, and it's like a really good house that maybe people who are ready to move out an apartment want to go in. But you don't want to, I wouldn't choose ones that have like a super small audience. The larger the audience, the better. But this is estimated. It doesn't mean it's 100% accurate for the radius around the house. So which is why the interests are very more optional. But if you type in like Zillow, that one has a pretty big audience. It's got 34 million, and a lot of people look at Zillow when they're looking at houses. The Premier Agent definitely feels more towards agents, not consumers. So if you do choose that, I would choose just the plain Zillow. And if you want to add any other ones after you check it, you would just keep going in here, looking them up. I know under real estate, there's quite a few. So if people are into real estate investing, it's quite a big crowd. I would probably choose that one, but I really wouldn't choose more than 2 to 5 of these, only because then your audience gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So do avoid putting too much. And then if you click narrow audience, it's gonna pull up the interest list again. So that's just an additional button in there. I'm gonna say that targeting is good for me. I'm gonna save that. And then last, I will go ahead and check on what budget I want. So based on my conversation I have with the person that is allowing me to do this, I have to pick the start date for this ad. So I can't start it today because it has to go through the approval process. So I can only ever start the ad the next day after I'm making it. So do think about that with all of your timing of when you're putting these together. And this is automating to 10 days. So right now listings kind of go on and off the market pretty quickly. So I would base it off like if they have a certain review date that they're going to review offers, and ask if you can go all the way up to that day. Or if they want you to go to the day before. So if they had a review date of Tuesday, you could go it to Monday, or if they're not reviewing till like Thursday, they go to Wednesday. Just ask how long you're allowed to run the ad for them. I've really only done like 2-day ads, and I've gotten a decent amount of people. So the longer you run it, you might get more. The shorter you run it, you might get some people who are like really paying attention to the market right now. So for this one, I'll just say we'll go to Monday. No, what's day? The 11th to Monday. There we go. So it's only 3 days. I'm not going to spend $30 for 3 days. You can. The more you spend, the more people it goes out to. But you don't want to spend a tremendous amount of money if you are on a budget. So for me, for those short ones, I think I've spent like 15, and so that'll spend $5 a day. That's reasonable to me. And so if that is reasonable for you, you just go ahead and press save. And when you're ready to publish this, it will ask you to go ahead, if you haven't done one of these ads before, to put in your card information. And so the reason we're able to put these ads out so cheaply and so easily is because Keller Williams actually pays Facebook these giant bulk payments. So when you do pay for this, it'll say that on your bank record, it'll show up as Keller Williams International pulling through for your ads, for your payments, because then they then pay Facebook, just because that's how we get all of our ads to get us so many leads, and why you hear so many people getting so many, and how they have like 50-cent leads and 80-cent leads, which is pretty good for a Facebook ad. And so I'm not going to publish this, but does anybody have any questions at all about this screen before I leave? Got a quiet group today. That's okay. Awesome. All right, so that is one of the easiest ads you can do. If you don't have the listing, just make sure you call around, get permission. And so I'm not going to save this. Yes, I want to leave the page. Other ads you can run are those all the time ads, like the home value ad. You would just do those same steps. You can use like a stock image. You could use a design from Designs for your photo. For stock images, Unsplash is a really good resource to look up things for your area. So if you were doing a home value for Seattle, you can type in Seattle and get all kinds of pictures. If you're in Olympia, you can type in Olympia. People submit pictures for others to use, and they're free. Or you could use any of the pre-made designs inside of the design section to make an ad. And the ones I would recommend for the ads are under the social option. So if you do need some templates, need some ideas, if you click the blue plus button and go into social and designs, it'll bring up the entire template library. Design sometimes is a slow load, but that's okay. And so that you have a lead generation option, and they do have a home value section. If you do the ad, I would recommend filtering it to the social square. And so you could take these, reformat them, change the verbiage, whatever you'd like. I know that with Facebook ads, the less text that's on the picture, the better it performs. So maybe you don't want to have all of the words on there. Do you know the value? But you could use that image of that's the stock image and like the behind this one. So you could take the words off and then just make sure the words are only in the ad text outside of the image, so it performs better. It does have Twitter options. No templates yet for that, so that's new. LinkedIn, nope, those are new. If you do listings, there are neighborhood snapshots that you could do ads on. So if you were trying to target a certain area, if you want to do an ad as being a local expert, there are square options there as well, where you could run some stats. Or there's also, I think there's mortgage ones in here, but the mortgage ones I don't think people have had much success with. To rent or buy, you might have something you want to lead them to, like if you did an article or if you have like a little booklet you want to email them, you could run an ad around that. Just solds, obviously you can run ads on those, especially if it's your listing. There are for sale templates in here that you could use for these ads as well. So just depends on your style of what you want your ads to be with your brand. So keep that in mind when you are doing those sorts of things. Any questions on that stuff? No, awesome. Must be doing really awesome. So just keep in mind, you also do have a personally branded zine in here. So you could run an ad about how you have a magazine that you want to hand out and send to them. Just another piece of value. And then there's all kinds of articles. Your information, you can put stats in it, whatever you like. We have plenty of time left. So does anybody have any questions either around ads or anything else inside of Command? Oh, I do see a chat box. Oh, gotcha. Well, thanks for coming. Someone had to hop off. No worries. All right. Well, that's all we have for today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself, any of the other ASCs in your office directly. We all have been learning and training with Command. We have plenty of recordings on our Tech Thursday channel as well. If you needed to go back and see anything, either if you want to learn how to do a newsletter or you want to learn how to get referrals. And this is being recorded, so this will be on YouTube later. Carol will get it uploaded for us. So, but enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate it. And hopefully if it gets sunny, you get to enjoy it. All right. Thanks so much.